Ever heard of Gog and Magog? No, they're not the latest rock band or a new flavor of ice cream. These two are the Bible's biggest no-shows, the ultimate cliffhanger that'll leave you scratching your head. Imagine if Thanos was hyped up for the entire Marvel universe, only to never actually appear. That's Gog and Magog for you. They're supposed to be the final bosses of the biblical world, but spoiler alert, they never show up to the party. So buckle up, folks. We're about to dive into one of the greatest mysteries of the good book. From epic prophecies to apocalyptic promises, we'll unravel why these biblical big bads are more elusive than your socks in the laundry. Ready to turn detective on the Bible's biggest disappearing act? Let's face it, the Bible isn't exactly a smooth ride from Genesis to Revelation. It's more like a roller coaster designed by a committee of sugar-high toddlers. Sure, it's got some incredible highs and unforgettable moments, but it also has more twists, turns, and sudden drops than you can shake a stick at. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not here to bash the good book. It's had a massive impact on countless lives and shaped entire civilizations. But let's be real. As a narrative, it's got more plot holes than a block of Swiss cheese that's been through a shootout. Think about it. You're reading along, completely engrossed in a story about some prophet or king, when suddenly, bam, a new character pops up out of nowhere. The narrative treats them like they're the biggest deal since sliced bread, and then, nothing. They vanish faster than your motivation on a Monday morning. Or how about those earth-shattering events that get mentioned once and then never come up again? It's like if Avengers Endgame spent 2 hours hyping up Thanos, only to have him trip over his own shoelaces and disappear into a plot hole never to be seen again. Some folks might argue, well, it's not supposed to be a novel, it's a religious text. Fair point. But even religious texts usually try to keep their story straight. The Bible, on the other hand, sometimes feels like it was written by a team of sleep-deprived interns who forgot to compare notes. So, why does this happen? Well, there are a few theories. Some scholars suggest that different parts of the Bible were written by different people at different times, which could explain some of the inconsistencies. Others argue that these disappearing storylines are actually metaphors or allegories that we're just not understanding properly. And hey, who knows? Maybe God just has a really quirky sense of storytelling. After all, if you were an all-powerful being, wouldn't you have fun keeping your readers on their toes? Now, let's talk about the dynamic duo that puts all other biblical cliffhangers to shame: Gog and Magog. These two are like the Voldemort of the Bible, constantly mentioned, supposedly super important, but never actually showing up to do anything. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Gog and Magog sound like rejected Pokemon names, but trust me, they're way more important than Pikachu and Charizard. At least, they're supposed to be. So, who or what are Gog and Magog? Well, that's where things get a bit fuzzy. In the book of Ezekiel, Gog is described as the leader of Magog, which is apparently a place. It's like saying Bob from Bobland, except nobody knows where Bobland is or why we should care about Bob. Ezekiel paints Gog as this big bad wolf who's going to huff and puff and blow Israel's house down. He's supposed to lead this massive attack that'll make the Battle of Helm's Deep look like a playground scuffle. But then, nothing. Nada. Zilch. Gog apparently got stuck in biblical traffic and never made it to the big showdown. But wait, there's more. Gog and Magog make a comeback in the book of Revelation. This time, they're not a person and a place, but two great nations. It's like they got a promotion between books. In this sequel appearance, they're supposed to team up with Satan himself for the ultimate season finale of Earth. Now, if you're thinking, wow, that sounds epic, when does this go down? I've got some bad news for you. It doesn't. The Bible ends with this massive cliffhanger, leaving us all wondering if Gog and Magog are ever going to get their act together and show up for the apocalypse. It's like if The Lord of the Rings ended right after Frodo left the Shire, with a vague promise that Sauron might do something evil, eventually. Some people argue that we shouldn't take these prophecies literally. Maybe Gog and Magog are symbols for something else. Others insist that this epic showdown is still coming. We just need to be patient, really patient, like 2,000 years and counting patient. But here's a wild thought. What if Gog and Magog are actually the friends we made along the way? Okay, probably not, but it's fun to speculate, right? Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the soon in the room. The book of Revelation kicks off with a promise that all this epic stuff is going to happen soon, 2,000 years later, and we're still waiting. Talk about the ultimate coming soon tease. It's like when your friend says they'll be there in 5 minutes, and 2 hours later, you're still sitting at the restaurant, awkwardly explaining to the waiter that yes, you're still waiting for someone. Except in this case, it's been 2 millennia and we're still here, checking our watches and wondering if we got the date wrong. Now, to be fair, time is probably a bit different for an eternal being. Maybe for God, 2,000 years is like 2 minutes. But for us mere mortals, it's been a pretty long wait. Generations have come and gone. Empires have risen and fallen, and we've gone from stone tablets to smartphones, all while waiting for this soon to arrive. Some folks have gotten a bit impatient. They're like, come on, God, we've been waiting longer than it takes to get through the DMV. Others are still holding out hope, insisting that soon could mean any time now. It's like they're playing the world's longest game of, are we there yet? But here's a thought. What if the soon has already happened and we just missed it? Maybe Gog and Magog showed up, took one look at our world and were like, nah, we're good. Can't really blame them, to be honest. Or perhaps this whole soon business is a test of faith. After all, if you can believe something's coming soon after 2,000 years of no shows, that's some pretty impressive faith right there.